Hey. Oh. What up, though? Welcome to the What Up, Though Show Network. But we don't just give you verses. We give you WayzVerse. Hey. I'm your boy OG Tim Wilson, and I'm here with Big Ed. And of course, you can't come to the WayzVerse without Wayz himself. What's going on, fellas? We in the building. It is the crew that do what it do. Hey. Welcome to the WayzVerse, man. What's happening, fellas?
Nothing much, man. Had a good weekend. Coming off a high of a good weekend, so.
I feel that. Not too often. He was just smoking weed.
Not too often I'm coming off a good high, so.
He said, I'm coming off a good high. He just smoked a blunt.
Ooh, where'd the reverb come from?
He's in the WayzVerse.
I was in the WayzVerse.
I was like, what the hell?
I heard it. I forgot I was on it. All right, so.
What up? I'll be right back. I got to go to the WayzVerse too.
I'm just saying, Big Head, it's because he got high. Now, but no, my weekend was dope. I had a good time. Yesterday, Monday, was interesting to say the least.
Interesting?
Interesting, yeah. Went into work and went into a shit show as usual.
You still at the pizza place?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
As of yesterday.
No more pizza place as of yesterday, huh?
Hell no. Kids are about to go on summer break, and these motherfuckers don't like to schedule a nigga, so guess what? I got more time on my hands.
Awesome.
Well, that's what's up, man. So what you got in store for us today for the WayzVerse, man?
Man, so you already know, I got a theme each week. This week's theme is stand-up comedy.
Uh-oh. I'm about to kill y'all.
Look, stand-up comedians don't get enough love, especially within the podcast realm and entertainment realm as far as information and news and everything. And it's our duty to get this shit out there and get a lot of people just talking about fucking comedy in general, because that is the source of humor in life.
See, what they don't know is, what he's not letting y'all know is I'm the only one of the three that's actually done stand-up comedy.
Yep.
I just stand up and make niggas laugh.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
So what we doing with stand-up comedy?
Man, we're talking about comedians in general. I got some comedy news. We're going to talk about different aspects of comedy as far as our favorite comedians and shit. So we're going to touch on it all and try to get some names out there. Obviously, there's going to be some big names we're going to mention just because you can't talk stand-up comedy without mentioning those names.
Okay.
And we also have a list we have to go through because, well, I'm just going to leave it at Rolling Stone. I don't know. They should stick to music.
So, what do you mean?
Well, we'll get to that a little later. But before we get to that, let's start this bad boy off with a nice crispy shot.
Oh, I can do that. Got my attention now.
Bomba clock, boys.
Cheers.
Bomba clock.
Now, first thing, each week we got to start the show off highlighting a specific individual within our theme. This week, because he's gotten the publicity he's been getting recently has been less than desirable. Let's talk about Chris Rock, some of our favorite memorable moments in his career.
Okay, I remember him when the first time I saw him, it was his first breakout moment. His first time on national television. He was on a show that was produced by Uncle Ray Murphy. Eddie Murphy was behind it, and he put on a show and had Uncle Ray Murphy as the host. I forgot what channel it was on. I think it was an HBO thing or some shit like that. And Chris Rock was one of the comedians on there. And he had a really good set, and that's when he introduced the character that I always want to, take bits and pieces off of. How much is I want a Whopper. And it's this much. Oh, scrape them sesame seeds off. That's too much. How much for just a ketchup and a bun? And he also had a popular line because he ended up bringing that character back, but saying different lines. And I'm going to get you, sucker. How much for just one rib? Right. That was
how about you just pour it in my hand?
Yeah. So that was taken off of, that was one of his bits, but he did it differently. And he also had one line that I remember in that show that was memorable when he said, I had a prostitute walk up to me and said, $300, I will do anything you like. I said, bitch, paint my house. So yeah, that was his first nationally televised performance. I witnessed that, and it was a lot of fun to watch. He was funny. But my most memorable one next to that was when I saw him interview Prince. And it was a very good interview because he's a very good interviewer. And and I remember him saying to Prince, it's kind of weird. So what do you think about how and we all grew coming up, we all thought you was this weirdo, and Michael Jackson was like the normal guy, and now that we all grown, it turns out you're like a normal guy and Michael Jackson is the weirdo. Prince couldn't do nothing but laugh, man. He was like, what can he say, man? He can't do nothing but laugh at that.
Oh, wow. My first memory of Chris Rock was, the first time I seen Chris Rock was in I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. Which is, if you go back and watch it, it's one of the most funniest movies of all fucking time. And then I saw him in New Jack City where he played Pookie. And then he ended up on Saturday Night Live. Which, next to the Eddie Murphy skits, some of his skits on Saturday Night Live were the funniest ever. Oh, man. But my favorite Chris Rock line is going to piss a lot of people off, and I'm sorry if it does. But he said, you got black people and you got niggas. And the niggas have got to go. That whole bit right there, it killed me.
I remember I saw him live in Charlotte, North Carolina. And he came out and he said, Charlotte, I'm here in Charlotte. Charlotte, no cackalacky. And the crowd went crazy, right? It was a big thing there. But the funniest bit he did, that was after the OJ thing was going on. The OJ trial was happening. And he said, this man saw, she had a guy driving around in an $80,000 car that he bought for her. Now, I'm not saying he should have killed the lady, but I understand. It was funny. He went through a couple more scenarios that happened, and he come home and she's sucking his best friend's dick. Now, I'm not saying he should have killed the lady, but But I understand.
Look, so my first introduction to Chris Rock was Pookie on New Jack City. And then I started getting into his comedy and shit. And the one bit that got me the most, or one set he had me with the most, was during Bigger and Blacker, when he was talking about we don't need gun control, we need bullet control. He said,
Yeah, very good bit, very strong bit. He had some very smart comedy too.
man, he was talking about charging $5,000 per bullet. Talk about someone's gonna stick you up. He said, "Man, I would blow your fucking head off if I could afford it." talk about I'm gonna get another job. I'm going to save some money, and you're a dead man.
Yeah, and like when he said the mass killings, you ain't gonna go shoot up a whole bunch of people. You're like, boop, boop, I can't shoot but 1 or 2 people. It's too many fucking bullets. It's too much money. Every bullet, the bullets cost too much.
Man.
It's out my budget. That is out my budget.
Yeah, no, Chris Rock is absolutely hilarious. With recent events and shit, it's important we remember this shit because there's a reason why he was on that stage as a host this year, and man, a lot of people seem to have forgotten it.
Yeah, it's a shame that went down, and now his name is synonymous with this black eye in the Oscars, and it is, but he's a brilliant comic. He did a movie called Good Hair. If you haven't seen this movie, check it out. It is an extremely interesting documentary about hair weave, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And he does his homework in this documentary, and he goes all the way to sources of this hair and how there's this Indian guy that gets money hand over fist that's probably a multi-billionaire by now, I'm sure. And he uses religion to talk these women into shaving their heads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, for a religious reason. And what he does with the hair after they shave their heads is that he sells it, and eventually it makes its way into the hands of those that can turn it into the hair weaves. And so you are actually, when they say they got Indian in a family, it really is hair coming out of India. There are bundles that are coming out of India because this guy has his women in his church shaving their heads for religious purposes, meaning he's paying them nothing. And making money hand over fist selling their hair. So it's an extremely interesting documentary. It's called Good Hair. So if you ever get a chance to check that out, it's very entertaining. It's very good. Chris Rock has a very good way of keeping you involved and keeping you engaged in the story as it goes along, because he's funny and he's interested. And so he's also, it's very, very well done. Very well done. Very, very underrated. One of my favorite documentaries, actually.
And one of the things that surprised me about Chris Rock, and this is kind of chiming into a previous show we were recording here this week, is his involvement and starring role in a Saw movie as a detective. That took me by surprise. I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, and I didn't see it, but I do recall that was the case.
Him and Samuel L. Jackson, I think it was.
I think you are correct. Yeah.
You know, one movie of his that was damn good that none of us ever brought up because it's a hood classic and a cult classic. CB4.
We brought that up. That was in the field.
I'm proud.
Gusto?
No, I mean,
I'm sure it was
during this conversation. I'm saying.
Oh yeah, Gusto. That was one. That was Gusto, man. I love that movie. Blackity black because I'm black, y'all.
And that's not the one I was actually thinking about with CB4. The one I was thinking about was Pootie Tang.
Oh yeah, Pootie Tang.
Oh yeah, now that one we didn't bring up. Yeah, Pootie Tang.
Water tie.
Yeah, Pootie Tang is funny. Pootie Tang is very funny.
If Pootie Tang came out today, it would get banned instantly in America.
Yeah. Woke culture would not like Pootie Tang.
No.
I said woke culture would not like Pootie Tang.
I don't know, man. How can you not like Pootie Tang, man? You don't know what he's saying. what you gonna have a problem with? Water tie, Sadate. Madame.
You already know how this woke culture works. This woke
on
culture,
the semi side, Madame.
This woke culture is gonna see him using the fucking belt as a weapon. Like that's promoting child abuse.
On the semi side, Madame.
Water tie.
Water tie.
All right, so I got one piece of news this week. I was hoping. Actually, technically, I guess I got two, but it's more. The second one's more news to me, so I'll bring that up first. I just found out, even though this is something that came out last year, is that Eddie Murphy had paid for the funeral for Red Fox.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that, so that's why that's coming up first. But more recent news, we all know about the issues between Kanye West and Pete Davidson, more so by Kanye West towards Pete Davidson than mutual. Well, Pete Davidson definitely put gas on the fire this past weekend when he responded to Kanye West during a new Netflix stand-up special that he was part of in filming. Where do you guys see that? Do you guys see that taking off any further?
What did he say? I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either, but there is another piece of Pete Davidson news that is actually adding fuel to that fire.
Okay.
The fact that Pete Davidson's got a tattoo that apparently has the names of Kanye's kids in it.
That's petty level.
So he's
5,000.
antagonizing. He's antagonizing Kanye is what he's doing. He's baiting him.
Yeah,
That's what it sounds like now.
he's like,
Why
go ahead.
not?
But
Why not? Why not use it to pump myself, make my name bigger?
Make your name bigger and let Kanye fuck around, go too overboard, and end up having to pay his ass.
I don't know. I haven't seen the exact tattoo, but they say that it's basically the initials of Kanye's kids in it.
That's funny. That is ultimate. That's next level petty.
That's some serious trolling going right there.
Man,
That is petty.
that is over petty. Like this man.
Like I'm just picking a fight with you now.
Oh my god, he's the Buddha of pettiness. What the fuck?
I'm just picking a fight with you. Sick.
All right. Before we move on to our next topic, do you guys need a break or anything?
Sure. I mean, we can do a break. I don't mind. Yeah, I'm gonna go grab me a beer. So we'll be right back, y'all. It's the WayzVerse. Somebody do me a favor and ask me not to never play that beat again.
Hold on, because I was digging it. That was Eye of the Tiger meets fucking Mega Man.
All right.
That did sound like a Mega Man beat.
Man, that was fucking dope.
Like we playing video games, 1990 video games and shit.
That's some straight up 8-bit.
Okay. All right. Look at 8-bit shit.
All right, so I got a question for y'all.
Okay.
Who are some of your favorite lesser known comedians?
Pigmeat Markham.
I'm familiar with Pygmy.
But not a lot of people are.
I agree.
But his shit was funny as fuck.
Yeah, he's funny. He's very funny. You want me to go? You got to remember I was a comedian. I know too many. I know too many comedians you've never heard of that's worth seeing. If you ever have, of course, my best friend, Tony Roberts, if he's ever in your town, go see Tony Roberts, the funniest motherfucker you're going to see. I guarantee he will be the funniest man on the show. I don't care who's on the show with him. He is absolutely phenomenal. His name is Tony Roberts. Go check him out. There's a guy named Frank Rizzo that's freaking hilarious. There's a guy named Leo Dufour that's phenomenally funny. Foolish is absolutely hilarious.
I love Foolish.
So there's a lot of comics, man. I know a lot of guys, man, that's off the chain. So I know that's my short probably never heard of that you need to go see. And I'm going to put them in that order. Top of the line, by far, Tony Roberts, the funniest motherfucker I know.
Okay.
It's not even close.
Okay. I got Corey Holcomb.
Very funny, very funny. Worked with Corey Holcomb back when I was doing comedy before he was famous. Corey Holcomb said one line that was one of the funniest lines I had heard that year, and I had to go tell him that was the funniest shit I ever heard, and I'm going to be stealing that. And he wanted to fight me. But he said this bitch, he went to this chick house and the house stank and smelled like they was burning chitlin incense.
Oh man.
That sounds like some Corey Holcomb shit to say.
Here's another one. TK Kirkland.
I'm not a fan of TK Kirkland.
Yeah.
And we can move on from there. Not that he's not funny, just as a person, I'm not a fan. I've worked with TK. I'm not a fan of TK. TK is very funny. Don't get me wrong. As a comedian, I agree. Go see him. He's very funny. But he's an asshole. He's an absolute asshole. I'm not a fan of that guy at all. He's just, as a man, as a person,
right.
He's an absolute asshole.
Another one I like.
He actually sounds like it in his comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell from his comedy that he's an asshole.
Another one I like, based off of his YouTube and his fucking TikTok work, is fucking Tony Baker.
I love Tony Baker on his social media work that he's done. He really did a good job of marketing himself, voicing over animals. I love all of his. I'm a fan of his work on social media. His animal voiceovers are second to none.
Yeah,
his
Skippity
animal.
Paps.
I mean, and he skippity paps, and he created a whole little language of his own there too, so that he was consistent. That it's me, and I'm saying it again. Kill Patrick, when he hits somebody with an animal, slaps somebody. Kill Patrick, and the cat to do the skibbity paps, but a hard hit is a Kill Patrick. And what in the hemoglobin is going on here? So he's got a lot of those little catchphrases. But he really made a name for himself doing those animal voiceovers. They are brilliant. They're freaking brilliant. And I'm a huge fan of his when it comes to that. I've never seen him do stand-up. I've saw him do a set once, a short set on television, but it was only a short set. But I never saw his actual stand-up show. So I would like to see him do stand-up, because I hear that he's funny. He was not bad when I saw him do stand-up in that show that I saw. So I think, and I saw a great interview of him where he was on the Breakfast Club, where he was very engaging. He was very fun. He's very interesting. He lost his son. And so he took that very serious situation and didn't make light of it, but he made it so that you don't pity him. And that's what he said he did it for. He said, I didn't want to be on stage, people having pity for me. I don't want pity while I'm doing comedy. Right. So I made it so that you don't have to pity me for it. But at the same time, he did have fun with the subject of it in its own way. So he's very responsible comedian from what I've seen. So yeah, second to none. Follow this dude on Instagram. I'm telling you.
I'm gonna look him up.
Follow that dude on Instagram. You're going to get stuck on his videos for a good little while.
Man. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Man.
What was his name again?
Tony Baker.
Tony Baker. Okay.
Man, I promise you, bro.
One. Here's another one from the social media realm.
Okay.
Wayne Colley. Country Wayne.
Okay. Country Wayne's another good one.
Don't know Country Wayne.
Oh, man.
I don't know if he's a stand-up comic, though, is he?
Yes, he is. He's in fact, he just did a show up here not too long ago.
Okay.
Oh, I got one for y'all. T.I.
Yo, I heard about that. I heard he just tried his hand at comedy.
Center. Yeah, they booed him off the stage at the Barclays Center.
Yeah,
they did. They booed him off the stage in New York. I listened to an interview with DC Young Fly.
Yep.
And he said, everybody bombs, and it's true. Everybody bombs. But he said T.I. came back to Atlanta that following week and killed. He said, but nobody want to talk about that one. Nobody want to talk about the fact that he killed some at another in the next show that he did. They just want to talk about the one he bombed in because he's T.I. But he said he came back. He said when he came and did the show in Atlanta, he came back to Atlanta that following week and absolutely slaughtered it.
But see, my thing about him doing a show in Atlanta is
don't matter if that's your hometown. It don't matter. It don't matter. I ain't gonna laugh just because you from here.
Yeah, I was just gonna say they're gonna be far more critical.
That ain't how it works.
Looking at you like, nigga, you represent us.
That is not how it works, man. That is not how it works. It don't work like that. You either kill or you don't. You know how many Detroit comics bombs right here in Detroit? Shit, that shit don't matter. That ain't how it works. That is not how it works at all. New York is a very tough audience. It's a very different audience. I've performed there before, and when I did New York, though, I did Long Island, and I killed. And but I know a lot of guys that did, like Tony Roberts. That's what Tony used to say. I tell you, there's a couple more guys. I'm gonna name them. But Tony Roberts was telling me he went when he first got his break and he won the most original comic of the year on BET, and everybody started throwing shows at him and stuff. He got out of California. Instead of doing California circuit and the LA circuit, where everybody was staying, and so they can get into doing this and doing movies and doing all these other things, he went to New York because the comedy clubs were tougher. And that's how me and him, that's how we were. We always wanted to work the hardest rooms because they made you work harder for your laughs. And when you went to the other rooms, it was easy work.
Right.
If you could here, it was a spot called Strawberry Fields, and if you could rock Strawberry Fields, going to these other comedy clubs wasn't shit. Right? If you could rock Club Med, going up to these comedy clubs, it wasn't shit. And that's what he wanted. That's how we used to train ourselves. So that's how he wanted to train himself as a comic on the next level. So instead of doing Cali, he went to New York where the clubs are harder.
Right.
And built his name there. And now he lives in Sacramento because he don't like the LA life. He lives in Sacramento and he travels from there. But Kevin Hart the same, and Kevin Hart and Dave Chappelle both the same, trained in New York. Kevin Hart said when he started doing comedy in Philly, he said the first thing his manager did was took him to New York. No, you're gonna train out here. This is where you got to get good at. Mm-hmm. You rock these niggas, and then you're ready for anything. Cali is a little different. You know, all my boys they live in Cali, that Howie Bell and them, they come here when they got a big show to do in Cali, and like if they're doing a comedy special or something big, they come here and work the underground circuit in Detroit for a week, and work out all their new material. And he said, because if anything that works here is going to kill when I get back out there.
Oh yeah,
right. But here, these motherfuckers harder. If you want to go where it's harder. From what I've heard, New York is harder than Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he struggled in New York. I'm not gonna hold that against him. I think it says more that he blew it up when he went back to Atlanta, even though he struggled in New York. New York is an extremely tough market.
Right.
From what I've heard about Cali and stand-up comedy, is it's essentially the equivalent of Yes Men of the comedy scene. Is even the fans or the audience is more, well, you made me laugh a little, therefore you're great. Type of a situation. At least from what I've heard about the comedy scene there.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to go too deep into it because I ended up not going that route. I quit comedy before I went out there. I had my opportunity, and instead I didn't go out there. I did something different, and eventually got out the game. But I've had in-depth conversations with some guys that made it, and some guys that did, and the LA market is very, very different. I wouldn't have been able to be. I would have had to. All my friends, they kind of change. You know, they don't go by nicknames too much,
right?
You know, so me being Squirrel and that probably wouldn't have been. I would have faded away from that. I did have another stage name though that I probably would have rolled out there with. I had another stage name because I was phasing out of Squirrel myself. But Tim Wilson, I didn't like the name Tim Wilson as a stage name, so I had another stage name, Jackie Roy. That's probably what I would have rolled with. But and that would have been a better fit for them because they don't like names like Squirrel, like Spank. Spank was Spank Dog. That was his name here. His name, he was Spank Dog. But he went out there and Spank Dog didn't fit that California circuit. You ain't getting no gigs as Spank Dog.
Yeah, that's when he became.
So he changed his name. That's why he changed his name to Spanky Hayes. Is he got a lot more work as Spanky Hayes. Okay. You know, it sounds more like a real name. You know, and that's what they like real names. Tony Roberts, Thomas Ward, Eddie Griffin, Eddie Murphy. They like real names. You know.
Right.
Now I got another.
Wilson sounds a little bit too much like Flip Wilson.
And there was another comic on the circuit named Tim Wilson. He was a white guy. He was very good. He used to do country songs, but that made up country songs. And there was a club in South Beach in Myrtle Beach that was trying to put together the Tim Wilson show. I've never worked with him, but they were trying to put together the Tim Wilson show and have me and him on the show together. I would have loved it. I wanted to do it, but we never made it happen, unfortunately.
Now, I got one more sort of lesser known comedian, but to me, I think he should be a big name, is Carlos Miller.
Oh, no.
Heard of him.
What? Lowe's from fucking Wild 'N Out. Ball.
Not familiar.
I really don't watch Wild 'N Out.
All right, I'm gonna have to hook y'all up. Carlos Miller though is top notch. He's the one that's got his pulse to the streets in the comedy game. I've never heard any other comedian, not even Cat Williams, can compare to him when it comes to having the pulse of the streets, with his routines and with his shit.
Okay.
But he's definitely one of those guys that I would say to watch out for.
I'll look into him.
All right. Well, I will get in touch with Tony and find out when he's up. But you're not near Minneapolis, Waze. Where the hell are you? Where do comedy shows come near you?
None.
Minneapolis.
That the closest to you?
Yep.
Pretty much.
All right. So when next time he's going to Minneapolis, I'm going to see if I can find out when he's going to be in Minneapolis. And I probably have to call Carmel actually, because his wife is his manager.
Okay.
And he don't know shit. I can call Tony. Hey, when you gonna be in Detroit? I don't know. Hey, come here. You don't know. But he loves that because when they made that happen, when they really got entrenched in that, he could just focus on his comedy. He don't have to worry about the other shit.
Right.
And he said that makes him a better comic because now all I got to do is worry about my comedy and know. Last time I was here, what did I do? No, I make sure I'm not doing all the same shit here that I did last time I was here.
Right.
And that kind of stuff. And she worries about his schedule and all the rest of the shit and the money and all she deals with the agents and all of that shit.
Right.
And he don't have to. And all he got to do is beat Tony Roberts.
Okay.
But the next time he's there, I'm gonna see if I can find out when he's coming there. But I'll tell you what. That's a nigga you don't want to miss. I promise you. I've staked everything on it. I put everything. If that motherfucker don't make you laugh your ass off and make you leave saying, is this the funniest motherfucker in the game? Why is he not famous?
Right.
And a lot of it is because fame comes because you're good actors.
Yep.
Actors get more of the fame than comedians, and he's just a comedian.
Right.
What was the best comedy show you've ever been to?
That's a tough call because I've been to so many. It's a tough call for me.
Well, for me, it's easy. I've only been to one.
Well, yeah, but that's.
But it was at the Target Center. It was called the Get Down Comedy Tour. And it was D.L. Hughley, Cedric the Entertainer. D.L. Hughley was there. But then it was George Lopez, Eddie Griffin, and Charlie Murphy.
That's a great lineup. I think of that lineup, all due respect and rest in peace, I think Charlie Murphy is the weakest out of that lineup.
What? Oh, no. Charlie was the funniest the whole fucking night.
That's because you don't know you're not you have a horrible sense of humor.
Oh no, Eddie Griffin is one of my favorite comedians ever. Eddie
Griffin is very good. D.L. Hughley is extremely underrated. George Lucas is incredible. Lopez, rather. George Lucas, Star Wars. George Lopez is fucking incredible. Yeah, that's a strong lineup.
That night, Charlie was the funniest. And the reason
I can't believe that. You can't pay me to believe that.
Well, the reason he was the funniest is because he was talking about shit that actually goes on here.
Yeah.
This motherfucker.
Yeah, Charlie Murphy was very funny. Skits. He was not an extremely funny comedian to me.
Man, he killed me with this motherfucker said he left the hotel to go get some rolling papers. And in the cab, he went to the gas station. He said, when you buy chicken at the gas station, you shit in the cab on the way home.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like one of the truest
that just lays there for me.
Here ever.
Yeah, that just lays there to me. I mean, I can get why that's kind of funny, but that's not on the level of the other comics you named. Not at all to me. You named some monsters on that show. That's monsters in the game.
It was some monsters, and it was a good time. It was the first comedy show me and my wife had ever been to. So
yeah, but Tony Robbins is a killer. And when he comes to he tours a lot with a lot of big name comics, and they know him. He normally closes the show because nobody wants to follow him.
Oh, okay.
Michael Blackson is funny. Michael Blackson is funny if he doesn't follow Tony. When Michael Blackson follows Tony, everybody walks out on him.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's the kind of comic Tony is. Tony is just too fucking funny. TK Kirkland. TK came on right before Tony, and it was a very badly set up show. They should have did it in the way they did it with that intermission. They had an intermission in the middle. They should have had TK close out the first half of the show and then basically do another show and have Tony close the second show, because saving both TK and Tony for the last show was not a good idea, because TK is very low energy and Tony is very high energy. So having TK come on, he was very funny. Don't get me wrong. He was very funny, but he's low energy. And to have right behind him, Tony Robbins, it was too much of a from here to here,
right?
As opposed to a here to here. You know what I'm saying? If we keep that energy going, he should have came after like Dave Larson, who was up here, somebody like that. So, there's some James Williams is up here. There's a lot of guys that's up here in the energy realm that was on that show that would have been a better fit to come on before Tony. Because when you take the crowd from here to here, then you built your show right.
Right.
TK can follow those other guys because he's got better material, but he's going to bring the energy down.
Right. See, my kids are mad at me because I quote TK all the time.
TK is very funny. Who raised you? That shit is. He's very funny. Please don't get me wrong when I say
I tell my kids all the time. Hey, you ain't got no reason being with a woman unless you got $25,000 in the bank.
But yeah, he's off stage. He's an asshole. He's a real asshole. I tell you who's actually kind of fun off stage. He's a little. I mean, he's arrogant. They all got egos. A lot of them got egos. But he's actually kind of cool. Is Bill Bellamy. He's a lot of fun off stage.
Yeah.
And it's ironic because me and Tony were doing a show together in St. Louis. And I always tease Tony about it because that was back when he used to open up for me. And Bill Bellamy, Bernie Mac, and somebody else was performing at the Fox Theater in St. Louis. And we were at the Comedic Theater in St. Louis, which used to be where Cedric the Entertainer hosted. That's where he got his start. Mm-hmm. He used to be the host at the Comedic Theater in St. Louis. And we went after our show down to the Fox Theater, and we met Bill Bellamy. Mm-hmm. And he was cool. He kicked us with it for a minute, but he was signing autographs for people. So we would just tell him, hey, we comedians, man. We performing over there. And such and such. He was like, oh, okay, yo, what's your names? And we told him the names. And he was like, all right, man, well, good luck with that, blah, blah, blah. And now I go down to Houston. I'm down in Houston, and they come to town. Bill Bellamy don't like to go on the road without Tony. That's his boy now. And I reminded him when we were sitting there kicking it in the back, we were talking, and I say, Bill, you probably don't remember this, but one time me and Tony was performing at the Comedy Theater, and you and Bernie Mac was up at the Fox, and we met you and told me we was comic. He was like, yeah, you right, man. I don't remember that shit.
All right.
Hell no.
It was hilarious, man. I thought I was gonna. It was real funny. But yeah, Bill Bellamy is real cool. Michael Blackson is cool. He's real cool. Deion Cole is extra cool.
Oh man, I love Deion Cole.
Deion Cole is
gotta be cool. Ain't no way in hell he's not.
That nigga is so freaking cool. I mean, he just like, he just fall in like he your boy. And I swear on everything. If I see him tomorrow, he won't know if he know me from Man on the Moon. But that night, I was his boy. That's the kind of person he is. You back here with us, you know somebody, you cool, you in the crew. He'd tell a story, and every story he come turn into me. Like I'm nigga, you don't know me, right?
Another good one is D. Ray Davis.
D. Ray Davis is hilarious.
Here's another good one. Godfrey.
Oh yeah, Godfrey. I know you talking about.
Yes. DC Curry is very funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hurricane is very funny.
I was gonna say Hamburger.
Hamburger, that's funny. I remember him. DC Curry. I mean, Earthquake is very funny, but his Netflix special is like okay.
Yeah,
it's good but not great. He's funnier than that special.
Lavelle Crawford is funny as hell too.
He is, but I've seen him a few times and was underwhelmed when I saw him live. I like him better. Some guys come off better on television and on social media than they do on stage, and vice versa.
I got one.
Tony is a guy that's not famous because he doesn't come across on social media and on television the way he does on stage. Okay. Because he's a real. Me and him used to always talk about energy, study energy. So he's a guy that really, really hones in the energy of a room. When you see him live and you're part of the energy, can't nobody follow this nigga.
Yeah, right.
You want to talk about energy? I got one for you that knows how to take the energy, raise it, feed off of that energy, and force the audience to raise their energy even further. Arnez J.
I knew that's who you were going to say because you are correct. Arnez J is phenomenal. Arnez J is freaking phenomenal.
I'm a champion.
Man.
Yeah, he's
brother Rodney.
Yeah, he's another. He is off the charts. Man. He is off the charts, man.
Oh yeah.
All right. Now, I got our next segment ready for us. What you got, bro?
Hold on just 1 second, bro. Here's another underrated comic, an older comic, David Tyree.
I thought he was the one that made the helmet catch.
No.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm like, bro, you think of football, you done smoked way too much.
Hold on. I got him on my Pandora.
You done smoked way too much. He said, David Tyree.
Y'all gonna force me to go back into my.
You said y'all remember that helmet catch? That shit was funny as shit.
And
All right, let's move on.
Let's do it.
We've been on that subject for about a half hour now.
Way too long. Yeah, we beat that one up.
All right, so I got our Would You Rather moment of the week.
I apologize, man. Comedy, I was in this game for too long, man. So you're talking about was my life for 10 years.
I expected this to be one of our longest shows on the WayzVerse because of that reason. But I got our Would You Rather question of the week. Built a little different, though. One of these comedians' entire body of work has to go. And who do you choose of these three? Dave Chappelle, Bernie Mac, or Eddie Murphy?
I say Eddie.
I'm going to kick your son's ass, by the way.
No way. I can't do it. I can't do it. They can't go. Nobody goes.
One of them have to, though.
They can't go unless I get to steal their jokes. If I can have their career, if they disappear and I can still have a memory of what they did and come out and do it. Nobody's ever seen it. Okay, then one of them can go, but otherwise nobody goes. But if somebody has to go, I'm going to go. Dave Chappelle has to go.
Ooh.
And I intentionally made this as hard as possible.
So, because you said Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle, and who?
Bernie Mac. And it's their entire catalog. Movies, stand-up, everything. TV.
Actually,
all of it.
I'd actually have to say Bernie.
It's between Bernie and Eddie Murphy is a staple. He's there. I'm not moving Eddie.
To me, Bernie's catalog is too small.
It's the shortest. It's the smallest, but it was impactful.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raw was the funniest shit ever.
I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
Yeah, I would have to. I would have to say Chappelle. Oh damn, it's tough. I mean, it is tough. I wouldn't get rid of none of them. But I would say Bernie. I would say Bernie as well.
Yeah, Eddie's he's a mainstay. He has to stay. It's fucking Eddie Murphy.
I'm going Chappelle. I'm going with Chappelle. I'm going with Chappelle. I'm keeping Bernie Mac.
Yeah, because his motherfucking Def Comedy Jam set.
I'm keeping Bernie Mac for a lot of reasons, and I keep them all for a lot of reasons because I like comedies. I like comedians for different reasons than the average person. As a comic, I appreciate what they bring to the table. I can do without some of the. He carries controversy differently. Dave Chappelle does than other comics, and that's one thing. But that's also what makes him great. But if I had to get rid of one, he's a very patient comic, very smart comedy, very very mature comedy, very underrated and very mature comedy. Dave Chappelle does, but. I would say I would go with Bernie because he's a lot more in your face and he's a lot more fun and a lot less controversial. Not because he doesn't have something to say, but just because everybody loves Bernie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not everybody loves Chappelle.
That's a good point, especially if you're trans.
And the gay community hated Eddie Murphy too. Yeah, that might be before y'all.
Yeah.
Remember he was riding through San Francisco. Woo, 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 woo.
Pull over.
Yeah, the gay community hated it.
Hold on, because we can't forget about Bernie Mac in the gay community with Milk and Cookies.
No,
they didn't come after him though. They didn't come after him like
because they were scared. They knew they wasn't going to be able to touch that man.
Oh no, but they came after Eddie.
I mean, they could take it, but they came after Eddie and Chappelle. I mean, they really tried to cancel culture them motherfuckers.
One in the
they really came after Eddie
in thousands.
Eddie did the honeymooners. Ralphie, how would you like to come over here and fuck me in the ass?
Oh,
what if the honeymooners were gay? Hey, Ralphie.
He did a joke saying, "What if the honeymooners were gay?"
See, now for me, Dave Chappelle's a hard one to push and say Dave Chappelle as well, because he's done something that not a lot of comedians can do. He's had to face that adversity, and while in facing that adversity, he got the people of that group to lose their jobs in the same process because of their issue with him.
Well, he took it head on. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
There's no doubt he took it head on.
Get them to lose their jobs. They quit.
Yeah, he took it. He definitely took it head on, and I admire that. And He didn't back down. He didn't back down to the bullshit. In fact, he just kept coming.
Yeah.
He did some brilliant bits in regards to that. So I mean, I can't lose any of them. I mean, it's a very hypothetical question that I would not lose any of them. In fact, if I had to rank them, then I would probably rank Dave Chappelle second to Eddie. But if I have to lose one, I would lose Chappelle. I would miss the Chappelle show more than his stand-up. Quite frankly, if I had to lose all of it, I would miss the Chappelle show more. The Chappelle show really changed life for Dave Chappelle, because that's when we really got to learn to appreciate what he was doing. He was always a funny guy, but we learned to appreciate how funny he was during that show because he's so ruthless. Because Chris Rock, that was Chris Rock's thing. It was his ruthlessness. He was brutally honest. He was ruthless. He's going to say some shit you ain't supposed to say.
Yep.
And Dave Chappelle took that to the next level.
That's actually part of the thing about Bernie, too, though. He said, I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
Yeah, but Bernie was just...
You gonna think it, but I'm gonna say it.
No, but Bernie was not really controversial. That's what Bernie's gift was. He could broach controversial topics without the controversy.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody loved Bernie.
Yep.
Everybody loved Bernie, and that was his thing. He was very, very funny in movies. In the movies he did.
Mr. 3000 was funny as fuck.
Mr. 3000 was good.
Didn't he do one with Chris Rock as well?
The one he did with Ashton Kutcher.
The one he did with Ashton Kutcher is absolutely hilarious. Mm-hmm. That's actually my favorite of his.
Yeah.
That's the one that was the Sidney Poitier remake.
Now, hold on, because his best role was in Life.
In Life, he was very good. That was funny. Jang was funny. He was also good in Ocean's 11.
Yes, I forgot about that for a second.
Yeah. So I mean, he's got a very strong catalog. Not as big as Dave Chappelle and Eddie Murphy, but he was not a controversy. He wasn't a controversy.
You know what?
That's why they didn't come after him.
Now that you bring all this up,
Eddie Murphy, their careers actually linked a little bit.
Who?
Dave Chappelle and Eddie Murphy.
Well, yeah, Eddie was kind of a mentor to him.
No, because the first place that anybody seen Dave Chappelle.
Not anybody. Just you can speak for yourself.
Okay. Well, the first place I saw
you saw him was in Nutty Professor.
What?
Yeah.
But you forget about How High? Not How High. Sorry.
Half Baked.
Half Baked.
Half Baked came after.
No, it did not.
No, it
Half
did not.
Baked was before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Well before.
Yeah, Half Baked was before Nutty Professor.
But in the end, because you brought up everything that Bernie, Dave, and Eddie have all done, it made it easier for me to kind of make my decision on this, because I was, even as I wrote up the question, I was really tied up and I could not figure out who I would get rid of. Dave Chappelle would have to be it, because unlike Eddie and Bernie, he's never done family-oriented material yet, whether it's movies or TV or anything. Where Bernie had the Bernie Mac show, Eddie, he's done countless family movies that I can let my kids sit down and watch as well.
You know what? That's an interesting point as well. That is true.
Yeah.
And Eddie was a game changer, man. Eddie took the baton from Richard Pryor, and Richard Pryor never liked him for it, but he admired Richard Pryor. But he took the baton from Richard Pryor and ran with it and took it to the next level. And stand-up comedy wasn't what it is back then. You rarely saw it. So that's why the show like he gave to his Uncle Ray Murphy's show was important, because guys wasn't getting on TV like that. There wasn't comedy. Def Comedy Jam kind of changed it, and then BT's Comic View. You got all of this shit going on later. So now it's saturated comedy shows. So then you got the Comedy Channel. So comedy shows starts getting more and more saturated, becoming more normal. Back then, a comedy show on television was an event.
Mm-hmm.
You know which comedy show that I haven't heard you mention, but I loved a lot. Although they did have a lot of white comedians on there, though. HBO's One Night Stand.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of One Night Stand.
Yeah, it didn't produce enough of stars for me.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the show. That's why I didn't mention it. But, and I know it existed, but I never was a big. By the time that came out, it was part of the saturation of stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Comedy was getting really saturated back then. At that time, that was part of the saturation of the game. I liked it. It was, and somebody warned me about it, and I didn't buy it. Somebody told me that it's going to get saturated and it's going to take away from it. People are not going to want to see stand up on television as much because they're going to see too much of it.
Yeah. All right.
And he was absolutely right. But back in the day when Delirious came out, when Eddie Murphy Delirious hit, freaking game changer.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna go over this Rolling Stone 50 best stand-up comic of all time list.
Oh, this damn 50 fucking comics. All right, here we go. We'll be back, y'all.
We ain't gotta go through all 50. That makes me want to roll up a fat ass joint right now.
Everything does. Yo, and we are back. Welcome back to the WayzVerse.
All right. All right. So with this 50 best stand-up list from fucking Rolling Stone, we don't have to go through the whole list. We'll go treat list.
Just run it down. Just run down the list, and if we got something to say, we ain't got to comment on that. We'll let them know.
Exactly.
Run down the list.
All right. So number 50, they have Wanda Sykes. 49 is Aziz Ansari.
He's funny as fuck.
Yeah. Let's see. 48 is Margaret Cho.
She's funny.
Yeah, she is. Number
is this of all times?
Of all time.
Yeah, of all time.
Okay. Wanda Sykes don't belong, but okay.
Right.
Who don't?
Wanda Sykes.
You say don't?
Wanda Sykes does not belong, but okay.
Oh, okay.
Marsha Warfield is 10 times funnier than Wanda Sykes.
Man, Marsha Warfield was funny as fuck. I remember her from Night Court.
Number 47 is Elaine Boussier.
You mean Elaine Boozler?
Boozler? Look, I can't read, nigga. Boozler. Number 46 is Reggie Watts. 45 is Freddie Prinze. 44 is Russell Peters. 43.
None of those last, just to say, none of those last four belong on the list.
No.
Freddie Prinze?
Freddie Prinze.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Freddie Prinze Jr., I think, bro.
Yeah, Freddie Prinze was Chico and the Man.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was very funny.
43 is Amy Schumer.
She belongs, but higher on the list.
42 is Phyllis Diller.
She belongs.
Number 41 pisses me off. Bernie Mac. Way higher, but
He's in my top 5.
yeah. Number 40 is
I'll say top 10. Top 10.
All time, definitely top 20, depending on who else on the list. Much higher than 40 something.
yeah. Number 40 is Gary Shandling. 30
Very underrated comedian, Gary Shandling.
I was gonna say the same thing. Gary Shandling should be higher on the list.
39, Mom's Mabley.
I was maybe said that bitch had them titties so big, her nipples look like thumbs. Mom maybe thinks that motherfucker so fucking ugly at a job sitting outside the hospital making people sick.
You know what kind of pisses me off on this list right now? Elaine Boozler's on the list, but LaWanda Page ain't.
Okay, my mouth maybe was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so ugly. Had a job sitting outside the hospital making people sick.
All right. Number 38 is Roseanne Barr.
To me, she don't belong on the list.
Oh yes, that's the fuck she does.
I was just about to say, I don't know.
You a TV show watcher? That bitch was hilarious in stand up.
Man.
She was fire.
Number 37 is Sam Kinnison.
He should be in the top 20.
Absolutely.
I agree.
36 is Daniel Kitson.
Who?
Daniel Kitson.
Who?
D. Kitson.
No, that's what I'm saying. Why is he on this list? Because I'm like, who?
Look, I ain't gonna lie. I was starting to get frustrated. Like, nigga, shut up. All right. Next up is Tig Notaro. Apparently, according to this list, they had to make sure they had at least one lesbian on here.
Oh, they got Margaret Cho.
Yeah.
And they had one of the sites. And Big Ed, stop reading ahead. God damn. We ain't supposed to see the list before he read it.
Next up, we
motherfucker naming people you ain't named yet.
I noticed.
Who did I say?
Margaret Cho.
No,
He's already said
was
Margaret Cho. She was
48.
Oh.
Number 34 is Patton Oswalt.
Rhonda Sykes is dyke too.
Yep.
Yeah. 33, Janine Garofalo. 32 is Patrice O'Neill. That bothers me.
He's in my top 10.
Yeah.
Man, he rest in peace.
31 is Sarah Silverman.
Mm-hmm.
She's in my top 25.
30 is Woody Allen. 29.
I've never seen him do stand up.
Me neither. 29 is Dick Gregory.
Way too fucking low.
Yeah, that's low.
Yeah, very low.
Top 10.
28 is Robert Klein. 27 is Red Fox.
He's in my top 10.
Yeah. 26.
Yeah,
26, Rodney Dangerfield.
You out of your fucking mind. That nigga top 5.
Top 5 all fucking day. Especially when number 25 is fucking Eddie Izzard.
Who the fuck?
Exactly. 24, Eddie Murphy.
Top 5.
Yeah, top 5.
Top 5. 23, Don Rickles.
Top 10.
Top
Easy.
10.
Easy. 22, Jonathan Winters.
Top 10.
I pretty much keep him where he at.
Yeah. 21, Bob Newhart.
Yeah.
I didn't like his stand up. I liked his show a lot better.
Yeah, I probably push him into the 30s.
Okay. 20, Mitch Hedberg.
Who the fuck?
Uh-huh. 19, Albert Brooks. 18, Kevin Hart, who I'll put in my top 10 personally.
Put him in my top 15.
I keep him right where he at.
There's more comics, that I'd put above him.
17, Bill Burr.
I like it.
I would put Bill Burr in my top 10 just because out of all the white comics out there, him and Gary Owens are the two that have the pulse of the fucking black community like no other white comic.
Yeah.
I keep him right where he at.
16, Billy Connolly.
I drop his ass.
Yeah. 15, Stephen Wright.
Love Stephen Wright. Very funny.
Yeah, Stephen Wright's funny. He's got a real dry sense of humor.
I like
keep him
dry.
right where he is.
And
That motherfucker Stephen Wright said, I took little contact lenses and painted little pictures of cats on them and put them in my dog's eye.
that's the guy on the couch.
He had him running around. He said, then I pulled one out and they ran in circles for an hour.
That's the guy on the couch.
Yeah.
Stephen Wright said, me and my friend was walking down the street. He didn't say anything, but I knew I owed him $20. Guy comes up to us, pulls out a gun and say, hey, give me all your money. I said, wait, here's the $20 I owe you.
Oh, shit.
Stephen Wright is fucking hilarious, man. I love that dude, man.
If I remember correctly, he had a real slow type delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He was real calm.
His stories.
Very calm, loyalty, but his material was so well thought out, so smart, so bright, excellent. One of my favorites. I would actually put Stephen Wright top 10.
Yeah. Next up, we got at 14, Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, I keep him.
I liked him. He was funny. He would probably sit like 16, right outside my top 15.
Okay. I could go with that. 13 is Bill Hicks.
Who?
Bill Hicks. You've never heard of Bill Hicks?
Yeah, I've heard of him. I'm not too familiar with his comedy. I'm not really speaking on anybody I'm not really that familiar with because they may be right, maybe wrong. I don't know.
Right. 12, Robin Williams.
Way too low. He's top
3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's top 5 for sure.
11, Steve Martin.
He's top 10. I'm okay with 11, but I would actually slide him into the top 10.
Yeah.
Very close to top 5.
Number 10, Mort Saul.
Who?
Mort Saul.
Mort Saul? Yeah, no way I put him over Steve Martin.
No.
It's not even, no way in hell.
I don't even know who he is.
No way I put him over Steve Martin.
Yeah, I've never even heard of this guy. Number 9, Dave Chappelle.
Okay.
Number 8, Bill Cosby.
Okay.
7, Jerry Seinfeld.
Wow. Okay. I would probably have Seinfeld at 10.
Yeah.
I'd have him in my top 15.
I think Seinfeld is in my top 10, but he would probably be 10.
Yeah. Number 6, Joan Rivers.
Okay, I'm not fucking with that.
I'll keep her.
I mean, I get it. These are white people, but yeah, but don't say that, Big Ed, because you just young. Joan Rivers was fire.
No, that's what I'm saying. I keep her right about 6.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought. Never mind. I ain't gonna even say what I thought he said. Then keep going.
All right, moving into our top 5. 5 is Chris Rock.
Wow. Okay. Chris Rock is in my top 10, but not my top 5. I would. I've heard some names I would put over Chris Rock.
Yeah.
All right.
Eddie Murphy being one.
Number 4 is Louis C.K. Yeah.
Louis C.K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's top 5? No.
Yeah. Ahead of fucking Eddie ahead of Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle,
Red
Bill
5.
Hell
Cosby,
no.
Red 5.
Fuck no. You got your fucking mind. Hell no.
No,
Yeah, exactly.
He don't even belong.
No, push him way back. I push him way.
30.
He might be top 30, but he ain't top. He sure ain't top 15.
No.
He ain't top 20. He ain't top 20.
Mm-hmm. Number 3, Lenny Bruce. Number 2,
I wouldn't put him in my top 3, but I don't know enough about him to know where I would put him.
I'd put him in my top 15.
Yeah, I don't know enough about him to really know where to place him.
Exactly. I agree. But he definitely wouldn't be in my top 5. My top 5 got to be 5 people I know very well.
Number 2, George Carlin.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I'm there.
And number 1, Richard Pryor.
Gotta be. Okay. Yes. Yep. I'm okay with 1 and 2. My 3 would be Eddie. Okay, so let's do your 4. Let's do our top 5. Let's just do 5. I would be 1 Rich. I would stay with Rich.
How about
go ahead?
How about we end the show with our top 5?
Well, that's where we are, right? At the end of the show.
I got one more question and then the.
Oh, Lord have mercy! This show is gonna be 3 hours long.
We'll make it quick.
What's the question?
It's our ABC questions. Big Ed, you'll start us off choosing A, B, or C.
All right. We waiting?
Yeah, A, B, or C. Waiting for you.
C.
All right, if you could replace any comedian's movie roles with Jerry Seinfeld, what role would you choose?
The jerk.
Fair.
I think Jerry Seinfeld will play a good jerk.
I think you can pull it off.
Yeah. OG, A or B?
Give me B.
If you could replace any comedian's movie roles with Bill Burr, what role would you choose?
I have no idea because I'm not familiar enough with Bill Burr, so I wouldn't.
The breaks.
Okay. Well, I'll give you A then, OG. Easy one for you to work with.
I was good with my answer. I wouldn't.
All right.
What's A?
If you could replace any comedian's movie roles with George Carlin, what role would you choose?
I wouldn't. I don't think he's good in movies.
Beverly Hills Cop.
I'll make him Chong. How about that?
That's actually a really good pick, in my opinion.
I'll make him Chong in all the Cheech and Chong movies. Instead of there being Chong, there will be Cheech and Carlin.
All right, so
hey, on the down low, George Carlin is one of my favorite fucking comedians.
Yes,
absolutely,
ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm going Rich. I'm going George. I'm going Eddie. I'm going Rodney Dangerfield. And my number 5, I'm going to say he's crept up out of nowhere, but I'm going to push. I want to say Chappelle, but is he really the one? I actually wasn't on the list, but I'm actually going to push Jamie Foxx at number 5.
Wow. I did not expect Jamie Foxx, but I like that pick.
I'm gonna go Rich. I'm gonna go George. I'm gonna go Eddie. I'm gonna go George Lopez. And then I'm gonna go Paul Mooney.
All right.
Someone who
Paul Mooney is a damn good one, and he's not even on that top 50 list. And that's a travesty because you're right. I would probably put Paul Mooney at my 5.
I'm going to go with a younger person's list here, so please forgive me. I'm going to go Dave Chappelle, Bernie Mac, George Carlin, Patrice O'Neal, and Gabriel Iglesias.
Okay, not a bad list. A couple of snubs in there, along with Jamie Foxx. D.L. Hughley belonged on that list. I heard a lot of names that I do not put above Jamie Foxx or D.L. Hughley.
Or Paul Mooney.
Or Paul Mooney.
Or Steve Harvey.
Yeah, I've heard Steve Harvey. I'm not putting on my list.
Yeah, no, I'm not putting it
my top 50?
No, I'm not. He's not there for me.
No. Cedric should have belonged on the list.
Cedric is a maybe. He would be if he made the list, he would be in the 40s.
Yeah.
George Lopez wasn't on the list. He belongs.
George Lopez belongs for sure.
Shit. Gilbert
Gary Owens wasn't on the list. He's good. He can get in there.
Gilbert Godfrey.
I don't know if you guys have watched him, but Joe Coy, I'd put him on my top 50.
Joe Coy is very funny. I don't know if he would be there or not on my list, but if he was, he would also be in my 40s.
Speaking of females on the list,
Monique.
Monique
was missing.
Yeah.
Chelsea Handler.
Ellen DeGeneres was not on that list.
I never found her funny, though.
You never saw her do stand-up. You just saw her when she was a talk show host.
Right.
Before she was a talk show host, she earned that spot by being one of the funniest fucking stand-up comedians I saw. And she said she had a boyfriend. She said, my boyfriend, he wasn't a real good dresser. He used to wear one of those Dickies. You know those Dickies? No shirt, just shorts and a Dickie.
First time I saw Ellen DeGeneres was One Night Stand.
Man, that shit was fucking hilarious. He used to wear one of those Dickies. He used to always wear those Dickies. That nigga just wore shirts and a Dickie, shorts and a Dickie, no shirt. That was funny as shit, man.
Female,
but I think she's funnier than Wanda Sykes to me.
Yeah,
she would be in my 40s, but she would be. Considering who's on the list, she's funnier than Wanda Sykes. She would actually be in my 30s. She was funny. She was very funny as a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Paula Poundstone.
I'm not familiar.
Me neither.
That's another white female comedian. She was pretty funny. Shit.
Andrew Dice Clay.
How the hell did he not make the list? That's really good.
Luell.
So yeah, there's a lot of people that got snubbed.
Yeah.
There's quite a few that got snubbed.
Jeff Dunham.
Man.
He's actually finna be in Beloit in July.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with him either.
He's the one with he's the ventriloquist.
Ahmed the dead terrorist.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff Foxworthy wasn't on there. I'm surprised he wasn't on there.
Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah, Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys out there, man. So it's tough to make a top 50 list because it is based on your particular taste.
Right.
But yeah, I've seen some guys that ripped houses to the ground, and Wanda Sykes is not one of them. It's just I'm just not a Wanda Sykes fan when it comes
to Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce is hilarious. I mean, of course, when it comes to the black circuit comics, it's hard to make this kind of a list. We're talking Rolling Stones, a magazine. We're talking about a magazine named after a rock and roll band.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, yeah, our list would be very different from theirs.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, man, I gotta get out of here.
All right.
I don't know about y'all, but I've got to go.
I feel you. I'm with you. That's all I got for you guys tonight, so that's perfect.
Yo, so that's it, man. That is the WayzVerse. It was the comedy edition. I probably talked too much, but I can't help it. Comedy was my life for over 10 years. And so I can't stop talking it because I used to walk it. You know what I'm saying? But it was a lot of fun, man. I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed the top 50 list, even though it was bullshit. I enjoyed kind of self-reminiscent in some of my history. And I enjoyed hearing the comments and commentary and opinions of my cohorts, Big Ed and Waze. It's the WayzVerse, y'all. Thanks for joining us. It's the What Up Though Show Network. Make sure you subscribe to the page, subscribe to the network, like and share, comment, talk about shit. I don't care if you crack on me. I don't care. Don't hurt my feelings. It's the WayzVerse.